competing for limited economic opportunities with close to 1 billion other young Africans. And I believe we need to see our strength in numbers as Africans. And in spite of having the world's youngest population and a market size of over 1.5 billion people, Africa still accounts for less than 2.5% of global trade. We have designed our trade corridors to favor extraction as opposed to intra-Africa trade, meaning that today it is easier for a Kenyan or a Ugandan to sell tomatoes and avocados to the European Union than it is to supply our brethren in West Africa. Similarly, unfortunately, it is easier for an American or European passport holder to visit African countries visa-free than it is for an African to traverse their own continent. If we are to create economic opportunities for our youth, we need to remove the barriers that prevent the actualization of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, of the East African Protocol on Trade. We need to remove every single barrier. We must stop being paranoid about each other and give preferential treatments to African passport holders to visit and to do business anywhere on their continent. We must design our transport and logistics infrastructure to point inward, to facilitate more cross-border trade by allowing for the affordable and efficient movement of people, goods, and services across our continent. And closer to home, we need to reflect on our education curricula. Are we training our children for the jobs of the future? The advancements in technology have rendered many traditional careers irrelevant, yet we are still spending millions of dollars every year encouraging our children to pursue courses that will lead them to nowhere. Today, the world needs doers, people who can get things done. This is the preference of functionality over form, as one of you here had mentioned. We need functionality. So I would summarize my response to the third question as follows. One, we must increase our share of global trade as Africans by deliberately focusing on intra-Africa trade or East African trade. Two, we need to evolve our education system to encourage our youth to be entrepreneurial and tailor our curricula to be fit for purpose in the knowledge economy. And three, we need to actively influence the adoption of domestic policies on macroeconomic management that create a conducive environment for the private sector to thrive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've always been passionate about the role of our youth in leadership, and it is a subject that I can talk about for hours on end. However, I'm cognizant that today we are limited in time to exchange these ideas. So I would just like to touch on some perspectives that I have garnered from my 30 years or so in active politics and my 10 years as President of the Republic of Kenya. And these perspectives delve into the basics of leadership and what I feel are the irreducible minimums that we must all aspire to as leaders in the new world that we are navigating. The first of these is integrity and leadership. And this is not merely a moral idea, it is a practical necessity. It involves a conviction to do right when it is costly, and to serve when it is easier to exploit. Integrity builds legitimacy, and legitimacy fosters peace. Leadership is a journey filled with challenges and triumphs. Reflecting on my own tenure, I did face numerous challenges, including corruption, rising debt levels, so on and so forth. But these experiences taught me that humility, listening, and continuous learning are the core to ethical leadership. Courage, my friends, courage is the underestimated quality, but it is something that you shall require in abundance if you are to transcend if you are to transcend ethnic mobilization for power, short-term populism, and dependency on elite networks. Leadership should be based on vision,